Hey, tea sippers. Hey, 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 hey. I'm going to jump in here real quick because I am really late to the party, to the tea party. Hey, Vicky. Real late to the tea party. And it is, when I say a lot going on, it's a lot going on. Every time I turn around. Woo. So listen, I'm going to jump in because there was a heist that went on in London, Paris, France. And when I leave here, and it's funny because we was just over there that was the UK, yeah, with Prince Andrew. I got to go back over there again. I also got to go someplace else with the Epstein stuff. I got a lot. I'm late. But interesting enough, there is another, they called it a grooming gang. It's a whole epidemic going on with this human trafficking in the States and abroad. So, hey, Janet. So, I'm going to jump on in, talk about this heist, and then we're going to move on over to London. And then I need to put a timer on and set the timer because a little later, I got to come back and talk about our normal. It's some stuff kicking off. And the yeah, that peace deal, all of that. We already told them that we heard not gonna sue me say that deal wasn't no deal. Yeah, he knew that. He played in our face. He thought he was stalling about that Epstein. Boo. It's about to get good. I got the date, the 21st. Her memoirs is coming out. Her memoirs is coming out. And she definitely is naming some names. What's that guy? One of them guys he was stepping in for her cause. Let me see if I can get that name. Hold on. I done sent some stuff to myself. I was finna say, oh no, he didn't do it to her, did he? I mean, boo, she naming names. And y'all remember yesterday, we was talking about one of them preachers, viral pastor who was soliciting a minor. And I said, ain't that same shirt Charlie Kirk had on? Y'all remember me asking? And I said I was going to go over there and check. I said, that is the same shirt. Don't go nowhere. You bring your butt on back here, boo. You can run, but you can't hide. You got to come on back here, baby, and face this AunTeaFee. Face the music over here. Bring your butt on back here, boo-boo. Come on back. Bring that ass on back. Y'all remember I said, ain't that same t-shirt? So he was a mega. I mean to tell you, I am convinced. If I'm wrong, Lord forgive me. But I am convinced that this Making America Great Again, I just think they're a whole gang of pedos. Now, I'm not saying that he was one. I don't know that. But I have has to done. Whew. Whew. But yesterday I said, that's the same shirt. Viral pastor Kevin Jones, 33, who wore a Charlie Kirk's Freedom shirt during his sermon, was arrested on Thursday, October the 2nd, for soliciting a minor via the computer. And I know I have shown y'all a list of them, whole bunch of them that got arrested for soliciting in the month of September. What is really going on? We just got to really stay woke. We got to really, really stay woke. If they not snatching them to drink the blood and sacrifice here, they doing something there. If they not doing something there, they doing something, you know. It's just every time I turn around, it's something. It's like, Lord, what in the world is going on? What did Girl in Color Purple? Oh, it ain't just girls, but I was finna say, she said, girl, child ain't safe in a house full of men. But listen, I came over here because Virginia, her stuff is coming out. And when I was looking at some stuff today, and that's the boy, and I know it. I see Woody, I see this. But let me tell you who I saw, and I said, oh, Lord, please tell me it ain't so. Did I send it to myself? Is it Bruce Springsfield? But I think he is supporting her and wrote a song for her. But baby, when I tell you it's a bunch of them, it's a bunch of them. Did I send myself one of them? I sent him over here. I saw Woody. And just in case people was wondering, were there, yes, there was time. Ain't that Trump over there with Prince? But when I tell you, baby girl says she knew that they was trying to take her out, but she left her voice on it. She was not playing. Well, we got a date, and it's coming out the 21st. So I said, oh my, I got to get caught up. I was taught, was done, oh yeah, it come to the light. But I know, bless their heart, they wish it would have came to light long before it did. But all I can hear is, anyway, well, nah, that ain't no blessing. Well, it is. It came out and it's coming out. And I pray that she gets full justice. It's a lot of stuff that's coming out. You can best, but God, I know. But you can't tell nobody that when they going through it. And I'm just trying to be real with it. Oh, here go another one. Because, bless her heart. I'm still hoping. I'm still hoping and praying that maybe because they did attempt to take her life. I am really, really, oh no, not that one. Wish, hope, and pray that they have her in some form of protective custody because they knew she was coming out and that her life was in danger because somebody definitely, and I do mean definitely, ran her over in a truck. Ran her over. So I'm hoping and praying that they moved her and put her in protective custody because of what they knew that she was going to bring out and her life was in danger. I hope she's in protective custody and that she is still alive because it just seems like a pattern. Oh, that's that ice guy. So somebody asked me earlier today about that ice guy. Oh, I think that was Love. Something Love. And I told her that I had it, but they wasn't hitting the like button, baby. So I just clicked right on out. So let me put it in here just in case she comes back and check. But there he go. And I had told her we had baby, when I tell you this thing is doing this, it does not want me to talk about none of them that they do it. It just don't want me to talk about them. Oh, racist ICE agent. There you go. Driving drunk. Why it keep moving? Why it won't let me get this to my tea sippers? Well, and I told her I had it over here. Well, there you go. It didn't tell me if he got out. He said he would never show an IOTA, I don't know what that is, of empathy to brown migrants that he rips away from their family. So he said, ain't karma good? It didn't say that, but ain't karma good? I mean, are we supposed to be happy for karma? Are we supposed to be happy for karma? I don't know. It's he said what goes around comes. What you reap what you sow. That's what it say. So there you go. One more thing I saw over here before I go over there. It's when I tell you it's a bunch of stuff going on. I thought I just saw it. Somebody else is dirty. Somebody else is dirty. Filthy, nasty. Filthy and nasty. Oh, I don't know if y'all, baby, when I tell you I got so much tea over here, I sent this over here so I don't forget to show it to you. But that just Lane's Maxwell, baby. She was just a straight up, oh, wasn't she? Was she trying to get in where she could fit in with them Kennedys too? Huh? She was just out there. But I'm not on her right now, and I got to get to where I'm going. But just a little tea. Where's she at? That just Lane Maxwell. She was just a straight up. Oh, was this a Kennedy? Oh, why is not showing her? How can I do this? Let me take it down. Yeah, I just need for y'all to know, I got the tea. Y'all just got to hit the like button, baby. The tea is coming. She was at Andrew Cuomo and the Kennedy family. How the Real Housewife, Andrew Cuomo, ain't that Chris Andrew? Is that the one that was New York mayor? Y'all, I just want y'all to know it's deep. It's deep. Okay? But I gotta get to where I'm supposed to be. This ain't it. I just saw it while I was over here. But baby, y'all gonna learn. Y'all gonna have to learn to hit the like button. My tea be good. It's hot. It's hot. The Maxwells. Ain't that? Oh, that Real Housewife. That guy. Andy. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Because, see, I didn't watch it. You know, I be trying to save some of it to watch with my tea sippers. What is it? Hold on.
Deaths associated with Jeffrey Epstein. Let's just examine a few of them. Virginia Giuffre was one of Epstein's most vocal accusers. She filed legal action against Epstein and Maxwell, and she almost saw herself as a voice for all of the accusers and encouraged other women to stand up and tell their stories. Earlier this year, Virginia claimed that she was hit by a school bus. She was then put into a hospital. She posted a photo on her social media with herself covered in bruises. It's a bizarre photo. And then a short while later, she was found dead after allegedly self-deleting. Curiously, she died just a few months before the Department of Justice and FBI made official Epstein disclosures, and the Epstein story was brought again into the media. I think it's very lucky for the people in power that Virginia is dead
Oh,
right
and in
now,
our closet.
because she would have some stories and she would have been extremely vocal in searching for the truth. There's also Jean-Luc Brunel, a close friend of Epstein's and a talent scout. He owned modeling agencies and he ran his...
Oh my goodness. It just don't want me to show y'all, do it. I'm trying to give y'all sneak preview, and it just won't do right.
Did you know that there have been over 22 deaths associated with Jeffrey Epstein? Let's just examine a few of them. Virginia Giuffre was one of Epstein's most vocal accusers. She filed legal action against Epstein and Maxwell, and she almost saw herself as a voice for all of the accusers and encouraged other women to stand up and tell their stories. Earlier this year, Virginia claimed that she was hit by a school bus. She was then put into a hospital. She posted a photo on her social media with herself covered in bruises. It's a bizarre photo. And then a short while later, she was found dead after allegedly self-deleting. Curiously, she died just a few months before the Department of Justice and FBI made official Epstein disclosures, and the Epstein story was brought again into the media. I think it's very lucky for the people in power that Virginia is dead right now, because she would have some stories and she would have been extremely vocal in searching for the truth.
Oh, she got...
There's also Jean-Luc Brunel, a close friend of Epstein's and a
that's what I
talent
was trying
scout.
to do.
He owned modeling agencies and he ran his own sex trafficking empire in France. Jean-Luc was tied in very closely with Epstein and he provided young teenagers to Epstein for his operation. There are lots of...
Oh, yeah. It's... I have to bring it to you when it's I'm supposed to, because I'm trying to do too much at one time. But I got it, and I got it parked. Just know that. I do have it, and it's parked. So, just in case I start tripping, remind me, AunTeaFee, you got that tea over there that's parked. About, you know, some, I know Janet will remind me. Let me get over here before I forget and get off track. I had it on the jewelry. Which one did I have? Yeah, that's...
A hunt is underway.
Yeah. Let me get over here before I get off track, because the likes ain't going up. Okay, so let's get on back over here. Yeah, I was giving y'all too much too soon. Let's go. This is about the jewelry heist, and then we going over to the London Mayor.
Stolen from one of the world's most famous museums, the Louvre in Paris. Well, France's interior ministers described the jewelry taken during a hunt is underway for thieves after priceless jewels were stolen from one of the world's most famous museums, the Louvre in Paris. Well, France's interior ministers described the jewelry taken during a 7-minute heist as priceless. It's understood that a large extendable ladder, which was installed temporarily for building work, was used. The top of the ladder touches a balcony, which appears to be how the 3 thieves accessed one of the upper
Gotta be an
floors.
inside job.
This was the scene inside the museum as tourists were ushered out of the building after the gang got inside after the museum had opened this morning. It has now been shut for the day. Well, our correspondent Andrew Harding told us whether this could prove to be something of an embarrassment for the museum.
Definitely a huge embarrassment. This was a very quick, brazen theft. You perhaps can see the ladder behind me, which 3 or 4 masked men used at about 9:30 this morning when the museum had just opened. They clambered up that ladder, they smashed their way through a window, got into the first floor to a gallery there. They could have wandered down the corridors and found the Mona Lisa. Instead, they stayed in the room which is basically dedicated to what's left of France's royal jewels.
So that's that West
jewels
Bank
belonging to the Emperor Napoleon I and his wife. They stole, we understand, 9 of them, including things on tiaras, brooches, and so on.
What they gonna do with something for Napoleon?
Correspondent Andrew Harding told us
Who gonna buy that?
This could prove to be something of an embarrassment for the museum.
Definitely a huge embarrassment. This was a very quick, brazen theft. You perhaps can see the ladder behind me, which 3 or 4 masked men used at about 9:30 this morning when the museum had just opened. They clambered up that ladder, they smashed their way
Black
through
market.
a window, got into the first floor to a gallery there. They could have wandered down the corridors and found the Mona Lisa. Instead, they stayed in the room which is basically dedicated to what's left of France's royal jewels, particularly jewels belonging to the Emperor Napoleon I and his wife. They stole, we understand, 9 of them, including things on tiaras, brooches, and so on. It's reported that they dropped one big jewel as they made their escape. They went down the ladder, got onto some motorbikes, sped off. So far, no sign of them. Fortunately, although there were...
Didn't they do that kind of with Kanye wife? Didn't they run up on her real quick and then I think they got away on some mopeds or motorcycles or something like that? Wasn't that in Paris?
Jewel as they made their escape. They went down the ladder, got onto some motorbikes, sped off. So far, no sign of them. Fortunately, although there were tourists, visitors inside the museum, nobody was injured. But as you can perhaps also see behind me, a lot of French police investigating, trying to understand who might have done this. It is a humiliation
That was almost,
for the security forces. People say nothing like this has really happened at the Louvre since 1911, when the Mona Lisa itself was briefly stolen.
Andrew Harding there at the Louvre Museum. Well, I was also able to catch up with our Paris correspondent, Hugh Schofield.
What's surprising is that it took place in broad daylight after the museum had opened. I mean, normally you'd expect these things to take place in the dead of night when there's no one around, but it was a very daring robbery, and they approached it from the outside, where there was work going on. If you know the Louvre, you know that one side of it goes along the River Seine. It was on that side of it that they had this. Well, I'm not sure quite what it was. I mean, the Interior Minister used the word nacelle, which means a kind of cherry picker to go up, but maybe it was an extendable ladder, some mechanism for gaining access to an upper story. It's not clear to me whether that was left as part of this renovation work or whether they brought it with them. In any case, it extended up to this first floor window, which allowed them access to the Apollo Gallery. Now, the Apollo Gallery is a historic gallery at this part of the Louvre, which houses, apart from works of art and being magnificently decorated in itself, it houses display cabinets showing what's left of the French crown jewels. Now, not quite the same as the British crown jewels, because of course the French lost its king, Louis XVI, in the Revolution, but nonetheless there are still some jewels from the Ancien Regime and also from the 19th century when there were Napoleonic Empire and his nephew Napoleon III and so on. There were crown jewels from that period too, and that was where they were held.
You're right, Janet.
It seems that the thieves have got away with some of these crown jewels.
But there was people in there.
How much they're worth, what they've taken exactly.
Yeah, they said there was people in there in the gallery. It had just opened, so I would assume the alarm is not on. If it was just open, they should have had alarms on the windows, I guess. That's why I said it had to be an inside job.
Fascinating insight, and just to bear in mind that down the hallway, apparently the masterpiece, Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece, the Mona Lisa, is displayed. So this could have been an awful lot worse.
Excuse me.
Put this into context for us. Just how common are these types of robberies from the Louvre?
Well, I mean, from the Louvre, they're not common at all. I mean, there have been thefts from the Louvre going back in a museum for, 150 years. And then the most famous one was the Mona Lisa, which was taken in 1911. At the time, it wasn't nearly as famous as it is now. It was taken by an Italian who'd worked in the Louvre who thought it had been stolen from Italy, should go back to Italy. And it was in Italy that it was found a few years later. That's the big theft from the Louvre's history. There have been other.
So Hugh Schofield there just outlining how rare it is for something like this to happen from the Louvre, given the security that you've got there. We are going to talk to Arthur Brand, who is an art historian, also an art crime investigator. And Arthur, you're known as the Indiana Jones of the art world, so the perfect person just to help us understand this, because this happened at 9:30 in the morning. The museum was open. This was in broad daylight.
Yes, well, a Sunday morning is I think the best morning to do this, you know, people are still a little bit sleepy from Saturday night, and you know, they just entered to the sidewalk. There was this mechanized lift standing there, and they just walked up there and they broke a window and they were in, and they were out in 7 minutes. So it was the perfect heist.
And it seems like they were really controlled with what they were doing. Would you say that this was really planned? Because down the hallway hangs the Mona Lisa, the most famous picture in the world. They didn't go for that. They kept it very localized.
Yes, the Mona Lisa is behind armed glass, and apparently these crown jewels, dating to the time of Napoleon, they were in vitrines which were not thick enough. They will always go through these vitrines, but you know, you have to slow them down. The thicker they are, the thieves will know it will take 8, 9, 10 minutes, and then the police will be waiting outside for us. So they have studied it. They have been there 2 or 3 weeks before, just watching the cameras, watching the doors, watching the vitrines. And in this case, they thought they could get away with it in 7 minutes, just before the police arrived, and they managed to do that.
7
It's extraordinary.
minutes.
It's like something out of a film, isn't it? No doubt the film rights are being brandished about already as we speak. Look, our understanding is that a diamond and emerald crown was found broken near the Louvre after the robbery. We're monitoring that live picture of the window where they got in. We can see the forensic teams dusting down for fingerprints. How difficult is it going to be to find these people and retrieve these priceless items?
Well, it's always difficult, you know. It's a race against time. The longer you wait, the more time these people have to get rid of these pieces, to sell them, to melt them down. That's probably what they're going to do, melt the gold and silver down, and cut the diamonds so that they are not retraceable. So the longer it takes, the more difficult it gets. So let's hope that these people will be caught very soon, and I have very high hopes, because you know, this is a national scandal. The Louvre, the most important museum in the world, the crown jewels. So I'm sure that even the Secret Service will be on the job in this case.
So as the Indiana Jones of the art world, Arthur, where do you even start?
What they are first going to do is watch the security cameras. These people have been there 2 or 3 weeks before, just to watch what could they do, would
Thank
they
you,
have
Vicky.
time enough. And,
Thank you.
The police will be watching these tapes, all these tourists walking there, and they will try to spot people who are acting strangely, you know, which are out of this normal person. So that's what they're gonna do. Then they will watch the traffic cameras all over Paris, and I think there are 100 or 200 police officers right now on this case.
Arthur Brand, art crime investigator, the Indiana Jones of the art world. Really good to get your expertise. Thank you.
I don't know why I have this dry. I don't even know where that just came from. Is this? Let me see some. Yeah, that didn't show the picture. Yeah, that was very daring. Very bold. It do seem like a movie.
There was news earlier today from Paris that several important pieces of French royal and imperial jewellery have...
It was hers? This queen right here? It was that old? Ooh, I bet you it was worth a lot of money, y'all. Ooh. Let's go.
been stolen in broad daylight from a case in the Gallery of Apollo in the Louvre. 2 men, apparently using a basket lift, forced open a first-floor window, broke the cases and then made off with the jewellery. The items stolen have now been confirmed, and I thought it would be interesting to have a brief look at them. All of them date from the 19th century, but they are among some of the most beautiful items of jewellery in the Louvre's collection. The earliest 2 items stolen were from a set of jewellery made for the Empress Marie-Louise, the second wife of Napoleon Bonaparte. They were given to her at the time of her marriage to Napoleon in 1810.
we don't.
They were all made in Paris by Francois Regnault Niteau. who is Napoleon's court jeweler.
We want the
This is one of two
we want the
sets that Napoleon
thieves.
ordered for his new empress from Nito. This one is set with Colombian emeralds.
The world-famous Louvre Museum in Paris has closed after a robbery. Authorities said experienced thieves used a crane and power tools to break in, taking just a few minutes to smash display cases and flee with priceless jewels. The heist took place half an hour after the museum had opened its doors to the public on Sunday. Visitors were evacuated. Police are still searching for the suspects. No injuries have been reported. Now we're now joined by Rosalie Engels from DW.
How did they get it? It had to be an inside job. I didn't hear them say they pulled guns, did they?
Just happened in broad daylight despite this tight security.
Yeah, so it seems the robbers actually took advantage of a construction site that was happening in this area to access the building quickly and quietly. While we don't really know the exact security protocol of a museum like the Louvre for security reasons, it is of course likely that they would have things such as motion detectors, surveillance cameras, reinforced glass around the objects, and also guards to guard the pieces, especially with these very high value objects.
Yeah, you would think they would.
However, as with anything, there can always be weak spots, and especially when there are sort of temporary changes such as renovations or constructions that makes those things especially vulnerable. And then there's also been reports of understaffing in the security guard realm, so that's never good and creates further vulnerabilities.
Definitely not a good idea. Now tell us more about these the jewels. They were from the Napoleon and Empress Eugenie collection. That sounds intriguing.
Yeah, so we don't have an
intriguing.
official statement yet of what exactly has been stolen, but we know that it is 9 pieces from this jewelry collection. And there are some reports that they include a very valuable necklace, a brooch, and perhaps an emerald crown, which was later found discarded outside this museum. This has not been confirmed by the Louvre, but these are some reports that are going around. Other significant pieces housed in this Apollo gallery is a 140 carat huge diamond, which would also be
a what? 140 carats? Did she say carat? Oh my God. What can you do with that?
Is a 140 carat huge diamond, which would also be another likely target.
How much? 150?
140 carats. It's huge, and so that could also be a potential target for the robbers. And it's basically impossible to estimate the monetary value of these pieces. But of course, the cultural significance is immeasurable, and this is a huge loss to the Louvre.
I mean, I guess, like you said,
is a 140 carat huge diamond, which would also be another likely target.
How much? 150?
140 carats. It's huge, and so that could also be a potential target for the robbers. And it's basically impossible to estimate the monetary value of these pieces. But of course, the cultural significance is immeasurable, and this is a huge loss to the Louvre and the French state.
I mean, I can imagine that a diamond this big, it's not easy to sell, is it? Or these other pieces, who buys them?
Yeah, so at this point, we don't know who's behind the robbery. We don't know whether it was commissioned or any of those details. So it is hard to say. But what we do know that in general, with these black market pieces, it's incredibly difficult to sell because they are instantly recognizable, they're well documented and very unique. So those kinds of things, you can't really sell them well in an official auction or even on the black market. So what is more likely is that they are probably going to be hidden away in some private collector's private collection and might never see the daylight again. Again, this is just speculation, but maybe there's even some collector behind this who commissioned this robbery. And then another option would be to break those pieces down. If it's a crown, you can take out the diamonds,
Yeah.
you can sort of take out the gold.
That's vandalism.
Yeah, and this is something we have actually seen previously. For example, in 2017, with the huge gold coin that was taken out of a Berlin museum.
Yes, that was. I
Yeah,
remember
and then
that,
it's
yes.
believed to have been melted down and sold for just the material value. So perhaps this is something we will see here. But of course, this would mean that the historical value of those pieces will be lost forever.
And which would be a great shame. Thank you very much, Rosalie Engels from DW Culture.
Okay, so let's move on over to, oh Lord, Diddy, what you got going on now? Diddy reveal a comeback plan. Epstein High. Y'all know that they said that there's a possibility that there was a assassination attempt on Trump. I don't even know if I believe it. He was so distraught about that No Kings weekend. He ain't had no plans on being in Florida. So why would somebody be up in the tree in Florida trying to take him out if his ass is in DC? Has he been sneaking to Florida? Why would somebody be up in the tree waiting for him? Or was it because he was trying to make it seem like somebody was trying to take him out for sympathy? But they say secret. Have y'all heard that Secret Service? Hold on.
Everyone can do to help prevent it.
We have some new developments on.
Have y'all heard that? Let me get over here real quick before we go to London. We already over here. We supposed to stay over here, but just in case. Yeah, somebody was sitting in the tree trying to take him out. Why? He wasn't there. I mean, what we doing? Y'all go, huh? Why you over there and he over? Oh, Lord.
We have some new developments on the breaking news out of Florida. Right now, the FBI and Secret Service.
And let me get up on the tree. Hold on. Right there. So somebody just camping out in a tree looking for Air Force One on a day he wasn't supposed to be there.
We have some new developments on the breaking news out of Florida. Right now, the FBI and Secret Service are investigating this suspicious hunting stand. It was found near the Palm Beach airport, which the president uses during his travels to and from his Mar-a-Lago resort. Let's go back to MSNBC's Jake Traylor at the White House with a bit more on what you've learned. So time to share it. What do you know?
Yeah, Alex, let me be clear. I'm going to be looking down a little bit because I'm getting messages in from some White House officials in real time. But this was an elevating hunting stand within the sight line of Air Force One landing zone. I want to be clear. This happened. This was identified on Thursday. The president was still here, actually, in Palm Beach whenever, at the White House in D.C. whenever this happened. So he was not actively present whenever it was first identified. This happened during, I'm being told by a White House official, during pre-advanced sweeps. So there are a lot of security measures taken anytime the president travels anywhere, especially somewhere like Mar-a-Lago, West Palm Beach, where we know he is frequently. So this was found very early stages of the Secret Service's sweeps of the facility around anywhere the president is going to go. This White House official also tells me there was never a direct threat to the president, so obviously this investigation is ongoing. They don't know the intentions of why this tent was there, so there could have been something there. We don't know that yet.
Yeah, it was abandoned at that point, but he wasn't never there. And why would you set it up in the tree and not grab it on your way out? That's kind of like, to me, Tyler Robinson leaving the screwdriver for the knife. I mean, for the gun, but dismantled it somewhere else. I mean, who gets down from a tree? I mean, you had to bring all of this stuff up. Or why would you not take it down? So it's kind of like it was intentionally staged to me. to be able days later to come back and say like somebody was doing this during the No Kings rally type stuff. But wasn't nobody over by Mar-a-Lago, were they? Better not be. Ooh, I know he'd be sick to find out they was protesting that close to his golf location.
That's currently actively under investigation, but there was never an of why this tent was there, so there could have been something there. We don't know that yet.
The Secret Service have
under investigation, but there was never an active threat on the president when this happened. I'm also told by a White House official this did not impact any of his movements. So it was found on Thursday. It was identified. The Secret Service deemed it appropriate for the president then on Friday to still fly into the International Palm Beach Airport and remain there for the weekend. We now know he any minute will fly out back to D.C., back to the White House later this evening. We also know, very notably, that no individuals were located at the scene. So when the Secret Service did identify this tent, they did not see any individuals there, and I'm being told again that there's no impact on direct operations of the president when this happened. I also want to note too, Alex, and this is very up in the air, and I don't know this for sure, but I've been to Palm Beach covering the president many, many times. I was speaking with the White House official who spent many time there as well. Both of us were unclear of any hunting facility or area around the Palm Beach airport, why there would be a hunting tent around there. I don't want to be speculative, but I do want to say I don't know personally, and this White House official didn't know either, of any hunting area that was around the Palm Beach airport, so that is interesting. And this, of course, all in light of the fact that we saw a potential assassination attempt against the president not too far down the road there, and of course we saw Butler as well. So all of these are increasingly nerve-wracking each time they happen, but I am being told from Secret Service officials, from White House officials, that this happened well in advance, and the president was welcomed to Florida knowing it was a safe scene.
Okay, let's get to London. Gotta go back to London. Thought I had a better picture of this man. Hold on. That means Trump is losing it. I hear he over there losing it. What's wrong with you, man? Ooh, I mean, there was a whole bunch of red states out there too, wasn't it? Y'all, he gonna punish us. We on punishment. Y'all do know that, right? Janet says she want all the tea. Stop playing with AunTeaFee. Hold on, I'm trying to get... Let me start with this one. Let's see what these
that catastrophic levels. In fact, more... So this story has caught my eye. It's about child grooming in London, with reports that it is at catastrophic levels, in fact more catastrophic than anywhere else in the country. That's according to a care sector activist and an abuse survivor, Chris Wilde. So grooming and criminal exploitation are rife in the capital, and it's being missed due to poor data sharing and underfunded services. Indeed, in the review by Baroness Louise Casey into rape gangs across England, they found a mismatch in the way that the Met Police and local authorities record child abuse. Now, if we know that there are rape gangs targeting children in other inner city areas, in other metropolitan boroughs, to the extent across the country that it has been, why is it that we don't seem to be finding such examples in London? I think that was a question well worth asking, which is a question that the leader of the Conservative group in the London Assembly, Susan Hall, put to the Mayor, Sadiq Khan, who also happens to be the Police and Crime Commissioner. Now just watch his response. It will make your blood boil.
I asked you this question last week and you found every which way but not to answer it. Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
To avoid any misunderstanding, can she...
grooming. Did y'all hear that? They have grooming gangs. Grooming gangs.
Define what she means by that.
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are people taking young girls, grooming them for sex, that is what I'm talking about.
We know in London there are issues about exploitation of young people, but they're not as defined by the member in her definition of what those types of gangs are.
So are you saying we haven't got the same sort of gangs that are in Rotherham, Bradford and lots of other places in the country?
Just for your misunderstanding, what does she mean by that?
You know full well what I mean by that. It's all over the television. You know exactly what I mean by that. These gangs of people that are grooming young girls for sex. Do we actually have those in London?
I'm unclear, Chair, what is meant by the question. If she could spell it out, I can answer.
I've just spelt it out. Are you not listening? It's the sort of gangs that groom young girls at a young age for sex. Exactly how much clearer do you want me to be?
That makes me so livid I could cry. That disgusting human being who happens to be the Mayor of London, who also happens to hold the title of the Police and Crime Commissioner as part of that role, that responsibility, obfuscating, gaslighting, bullying, belittling. These are little girls, underage minors, being raped by gangs in our capital city. You do not play games over this. If this was anybody else in any other position of authority, that clip alone should have seen his head roll. London Mayor, you're a disgrace. You're disgusting. You do not deserve to be in that position. Not when the welfare, the well-being, the dignity, the integrity, the safety and the innocence of children in the capital city is at stake. You are the most deplorable, despicable, horrible human being to answer that question like that. Now you get back in that seat, you answer the question properly, you get the stats, you hold the police to account. That is what you're supposed to be doing. That is what I'm paying you to do as someone who pays taxes, living in London. I should expect no less. The country should expect no less. You disgust me. Right, I've got that off my chest. Let's speak now to Emma Best, who is the Conservative Deputy Leader in the London Assembly. Emma, I mean, look...
Y'all, I felt every bit of that.
I cannot fathom how he has the audacity to sit there in mayoral question time and respond to what is an extremely serious...
I felt every bit of that. That's how I be feeling when they be answering stupid and crazy intentionally. Intentionally. Anytime it comes to asking about the Epstein file. So it's just almost like a worldwide epidemic. But the thing about it is that a lot of the people that's on are what's intriguing to me, because a lot of the people that are on the in the Epstein files are foreign countries. We just learned yesterday, it's coming out today, that Prince Andrew, his bodyguard, his Metro police officer security guard, he gave the girl's social security number, name, and all this information to run and find dirt on her for a smear campaign. So to hear this mayor acting like he didn't understand the question, can you say it in a way that I could understand? What? What? You didn't understand. Yeah. So it's a whole problem. But it's political. We're finding out that it's political. And it's worldwide. Let's be clear. But a grooming gang? Never heard of that. Let's keep listening.
Your leader on this most sensitive and important of subjects. I'm horrified. Horrified. What did you make of all of that?
Yeah, Governor, and you speak not only to the whole of London, but the UK. That's the disgust that we all feel. Because what you've seen from the Casey report, what you
So is this Prince Charles, Prince Andrew? I mean, really, what's really going on, y'all? What is really going on? Where is Epstein for real?
seen from reports over the weekend is exactly what we feared. When you look at and hear those testimonials from those poor girls,
and we heard that one girl that's also, I don't know, she was from Russia, wasn't she? It's finna
across the
come out,
country,
y'all.
and you look at the elements to how those cases were allowed to rear their head, you could only see that we were likely to have issues like that in London. We had failing authorities. We had a Met Police service that was scared to be called racist. We had the profile of those victims across the capital. We knew we were likely to have it. It's such a serious issue. I wouldn't begin to speculate as to why the mayor thought it was acceptable to respond in that way. All I can say, it was absolutely unacceptable. This is a really serious case. These are people's lives, not just past victims. We probably have current victims as well. That's why in February we had a fully costed inquiry that we put into the budget. Labour voted against that then. Luckily, they have U-turned nationally. But this, look, in City Hall Conservatives, the first report we did on this was 10 years ago. That's how long we have been saying there is likely to be an issue of this scale in London.
And there is, and what we know is the way that the Metropolitan Police and local authorities in London have been recording statistics on child abuse is out of sync with other parts of the country. So we know that there are failings. We know that there must be cases slipping through the cracks as a result of this inconsistency. And we know that the buck stops with Sadiq Khan because he, as the Mayor of London, is in lieu of a police and crime commissioner. I think the man should resign.
Well, I think on this and many other reasons, it's been clear that he is not fit to be the Mayor of London, and I would certainly be calling for his resignation. But I just hope that Londoners see this, and I hope they see that it's not just political differences they have. He has a disdain, I think, for Londoners, and the way in which he conducts himself is not. He is not fit to be the Mayor of our capital, and I think this incident, when you see that perfectly reasonable line of questioning from our leader, Assembly Member Hall, I don't know how you could be more reasonable about what is a topic that is going to rightfully make people angry. I don't know how you could be more reasonable and to get that response. I hope people see this, and I hope people will remember it. And I do not hope that he gets the privilege to run our city for much longer after this. But in the meantime, he needs to do something about what actually is the problem around the victims that we likely have across the capital.
Well, I mean, I don't quite know what, only he can know in his own head what he was trying to do there, but I got the impression he's saying, oh, try and define what you're talking about. I don't understand. You'll have to spell it out more clearly. I get the feeling he was basically trying to play the race card and portray her as some sort of xenophobe or Islamophobe, which is a disgusting way of trying to gaslight someone into not pursuing what is the most important of subjects. What is being done in London now? Has there been any change? What can we hope for in terms of unearthing and uncovering what could be going on in our capital city and starting to put things right?
Well, firstly, we do hope this national inquiry is going to look in detail at London. We've seen from the Casey report the problems laid bare, and as you said there, we've seen the issue with the data. So the data basically shows us between local authorities and the Met Police, it is undeniable that children are being lost in the system. So we really need to push on that now and make the Mayor look into that as soon as possible while we wait for the national inquiry to go through. It was really upsetting that in February we could have began work on this. Like I said, the City Hall Conservatives put forward a plan to make sure that we were beginning to look into that now, and Labour rejected it. I do hope now they do more after the national government have U-turned. But just to come back to that questioning from Susan Hall, as I said, I couldn't tell you why he thought it was okay to behave in that way. But what I do know is this is the most serious of crimes, and he was playing a game of some sort. Only he could tell you what the game was. But he was playing a game of some sort with what is one of the most severe and disgusting crimes that we've seen in this country.
Yeah, I think we all have a hunch of what game he might be playing. I've got a viewer who's messaging saying Khan didn't answer the grooming scandal question because he was goading her into saying Muslim or Pakistani so he could shut her down as a racist. Sadiq Khan boils my blood, says someone else. How does that childish response around rape gangs, how is it befitting of a knight of the realm? The UK should remove the title immediately. Just as you said, this is not an issue that you can play political games over. This is not an issue where we should ever tolerate somebody using those sort of sly ways of framing somebody as being a xenophobe or an Islamophobe or a racist, because we know that that has been all part of the cover-up, which has enabled these gangs to be able to act for decades now with hundreds of thousands of victims.
Yeah, I think, and I have to say that in the Casey report, she made clear that in 2/3 of cases, ethnicity data hadn't been recorded alongside these crimes. She made clear that authorities had shied away from the issue of race. So now that Dame Casey has said it, hopefully the likes of...
Men, oh my God. I mean, wow. Race, because she asked you a straightforward. What does race have to do with the question that she asked? Looking for a reason. Looking for a reason.
Time will take it seriously because it's victims that have paid the price for that. But also, it should be said, it's also minority ethnic communities that are paying a price because they want this investigated as well. They are saying, don't tarnish everybody with the same brush. Don't let this get pushed under the cover. And they want this investigated just as much as anyone else. And we are doing a disservice by not talking about it, not only to them, but of course the victims.
Yeah, you're right, actually, because we know in Oldham, for example, some of the whistleblowers, when it came to the perpetrators of these sick acts, these sick criminal acts, were the daughters and the wives of the men involved. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
Right.
Look, if I were to make one recommendation, never let that clip go. Make sure you've got it on your file and make sure you keep hammering him every single chance. You make sure you put him...
Let's go deeper. Let's Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Saria. I am so sorry.
Don't compromise quality insurance for savings or
I
your
pray
time
for all
this ad.
victims.
Hit that skip button or don't.
Of course, has come on GB News very often, told the Express that the cases followed the same pattern she had seen with Greater Manchester Police's cover.
Don't compromise quality insurance for savings or your time for this ad. Hit that skip button or don't.
Once 2 years, it's pretty obvious that Ukraine cannot beat Russia on its own. And that is why the Western world has been giving it weapons and advice.
Without looking at the front page of the Daily Express. And I'm going to read some of the lines out from this article for you because I've got it here in front of me. So the Daily Express are reporting this. Sadiq Khan has been accused of covering up evidence of grooming gangs in London after an Express investigation. The Mayor of London read reports, supposedly, allegedly, of young girls being raped in hotels by groups of men while publicly denying, the mayor of course, there were any grooming gangs in the capital. This is word from the Daily Express. The children were also piled with drugs and had their lives threatened, evidence uncovered by the Express and My London shows. Grooming gang whistleblower Maggie Oliver, who of course has come on GB News very often, told the Express that the cases followed the same pattern she had seen with Greater Manchester Police's cover-up of the Rochdale scandal. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philpin is accusing Sadiq Khan of being part of a cover-up and called for accountability. I'll read more into this shortly. You know, this is a damning accusation. This is a damning accusation. We have a national grooming gang inquiry, of course, it's going to be, I would have thought, very, very soon, kicking off. And London, I highly suspect, will be part of that investigation. Paul, I'll start with you. Welcome to the show, mate.
Hello.
Not a good headline Ford, Mayor of London. We did break a similar story just a few weeks ago on GB News. This grooming gang, this rape epidemic of young women in our country, to put it more, not as soft as grooming.
Worldwide. Worldwide. Okay, Jenna, what are you? Come on, you. What you doing, Janet?
Gangs, is threatens. It's all of us. It's across the entire nation, isn't it?
I genuinely believe that Sadiq Khan will not care one jot about this headline whatsoever. He'll see the smorgasbord of newspaper headlines and he'll see that just one paper's covering it. He'll feel extremely safe. He has rather intelligently been the architect of a very, very safe space for himself. London, and the one thing we're never saying in here, and I'm kind of reticent about pointing this out right now, is that this is largely a Muslim Pakistani grooming gang issue that we're talking about. That's not to say there are no other grooming gangs in the...
That's why he wanted her to make it... Okay. That's the whole thing about the Epstein files, documents. I've tried to make sure that we understand that it's just not Trump that Trump is protecting. It is, it's councilmen and, but outside of that, there are some foreign business deals that he interacts with regularly that he is also protecting. I know he think he don't care. He can do anything he wants to do, but this ain't going nowhere. That's why the lady who exposed some of them emails on Prince Andrew, who says she knows Trump well. She's been knowing him since she was in her 20s. She said, Donald, it's not going anywhere. And it's not. The longer he plays these games, the more we lose it. His base lose it. Everybody lose it for him. I ain't never had it for him. Well, I used to like The Apprentice, but other than that, no. When I heard him say he could stick his hands in somebody's britches if he want to, no, he lost me. Absolutely. But it's some of those foreigners. So, again, when I hear that undercover federal agent saying that they come from all over the world. And the exposure of Prince Andrew over the weekend. Him and Fergie being stripped. Now we're hearing that the mayor in London, Pakistani, Russia came up. It's just a matter of time before we hear some of the other foreign prime ministers, Saudi, that kind of came up with Diddy. That's why I went ahead and grabbed onto this, because it's all coming out right around this time that Virginia memoirs is coming out. So don't be surprised if she goes way off into Europe with Prince Andrew as full staff.
UK or wider Europe. But what we are talking about here now is Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs being the problem. Of course they exist in London. It's statistically impossible that they don't. London is 8 million people, has 1.3 million Muslims, 15% of the capital is Muslim under the 2021 census. Sadiq Khan has built an empire on the back of that 15% and the strange bedfellows of Muslim and liberalism. So you combine London's liberalism population with its Muslim population, you have an extremely large cohort of people that will back him no matter what. And because it makes people so squeamish to talk about this from a factual perspective, from a religious perspective, from a background perspective, he is very safe in the knowledge that he is in the safe space to talk. And I, by saying this right now, am in a relatively dangerous position by pointing it out.
I'll go straight to you on this, Sebastian. You're a councillor in London, of course. What do you make of what Paul's saying there?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's early days. We've just had this story hot off the press. I want to hear from the mayor. I don't think we've had a right response there, and see what he has to say. What I don't see is the political advantage of doing this if it is true. Why cover up after everything that has happened in Rochdale, elsewhere in the country? Why jump on that bandwagon and cover up something as awful as this?
Well, I just want to read a little bit more, because I'm going to read this article.
Because they're covering it up in the U.S. Because Trump don't want the Epstein files.
So the Express have gone on to say this. The mayor and the Metropolitan Police, by the way, have consistently claimed to have no reports at all of Rochdale or Rotherham-style rape gangs in the capital, with Khan suggesting there was no indication they...
Y'all, is this not the same thing that is going on in the U.S.? The FBI, Bondi saying that what? Are we not hearing the same stuff?
Even exist. However, in the pages of 4 different His Majesty Inspectorates of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services reports from 2016 to 2025, which the Mayor of London personally responded to, the Express found details of 6 potential victims. I will read out some of those police inspection evidence victims reports here in just a moment. Connie, what do we make off the back of that?
Well, it sounds like they've got quite a bit of evidence at the Daily Express. So of course, we haven't heard from Mayor Khan yet, but I think that this is quite damning what we are hearing in this article. They've got documents there showing that he personally responded, apparently, to reports of there being potential grooming gang victims in London. And then he said there is no indication. And we've spoken about, there's that clip of Susan Hall questioning him on grooming gangs, and very arrogantly, he just dodges the question and says, "Oh, can you define that? I'm not sure what you mean by that." I mean, the man is so arrogant and so in denial about the problems in this capital city. We see it with knife crime, and now it looks like we're seeing it with the grooming gangs as well. It's just unconscionable the way that he conducts himself, I think.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because I think of that infamous clip of Susan Hall with Sadiq Khan, and we're going to try and get that clip to show it to you, because I think it's very revealing about how much the mayor supposedly cares about this issue, because this is an issue up and down the country. We have seen it in almost every major town, city across Britain. It would be almost completely a massive anomaly that we wouldn't be able to explain if they weren't happening here in London, Paul.
Well, absolutely. And just to go back to Sebastian's point with regards to
It's all
why
sound
would he?
familiar to me.
I feel like, and it's very damning actually, and it's. I don't think it walks along the political divide. I think it's on both sides. Historically, people have been very comfortable to deny that this very serious thing is happening because they've always felt that they, in doing so, would probably get away with it. There's always enough plausible deniability. They're always far enough away from the actual incidents. And these incidents take place at the lowest end of our demographic in the country. These are predominantly poor white girls that are disenfranchised and seen as people that have little to no value within society. Now, I'm not saying that's true. I know no one on this panel is saying that's true. But the truth of it is that's where the victims are coming from. And people in power are so far removed from those people and those victims that they have almost created a space in which they feel comfortable to deny it's ever happening. And this goes right across the top of the police, right across the top of the political sphere and the media sphere as well. People have become incredibly squeamish about talking about this. And
y'all, please hit the like button, double tap the face of your phone. There's 3 buttons at the top. If you can hit those 3 buttons at the top to get to the like button, I would greatly appreciate it. I've been sitting at the same amount of numbers, a small amount of people in here right now. I know we're talking about right now a topic that's not trending, but I still need for y'all to hit the like button quickly. Just double tap the face of your phone, just like that. Or hit the 3 dots at the top right side of your computer and get the likes up, please. Hi, lovely one.
Business proliferated is because people will not talk about it. Look, I don't know what the solution is, but what I do know is the way towards the solution is for people like Sadiq Khan to admit that this may have happened. Also, not to dismiss it if someone raises a question, even if it is Susan Hall and you don't like her as your political opponent, even if it's uncomfortable for you to hear the question, you absolutely should deal with it in a serious way, and I don't think he's done that to this point.
No, I certainly agree, and Chloe, I think, I'll read out some more of this article in just a second for you, because Chris Wilde, who is one of the men who has been working tirelessly on this issue, he is basically, he's a care professional, by the way, he's worked with vulnerable young children, and he has mentioned that this is just the tip of the iceberg, and he said it's not just these few case studies we've been able to uncover, but he said it is prolific in London. He said he's actually claiming that it is worse in London than anywhere else in the country. So if the mayor has said he's found no evidence of this, if the Met Police are saying they found no evidence of this, surely they will be held to pay politically for a mayor who would either not be aware of this happening in his own capital, or possibly if Chris Wilde's accusations are correct, that this would be happening under his nose.
I would like to see that if these accusations are correct, that Sadiq Khan would resign. But quite frankly, I think that he's too arrogant and his ego is too inflated to actually do that. I mean, a little bit like Prince Andrew, he won't go until he's shoved. And the electorate in London, as Paul has pointed out, you've got this marriage of the Muslim community and then the young woke liberals living in London, means that it's almost like he's untouchable. So I have a strong feeling that he will get away with it, very sadly. But I mean, the thing is, just going back to Paul's point about the question that Susan Hall raised, is even if these accusations are completely false, and Sadiq Khan knew nothing about this, what is clear to me from that questioning where Susan Hall spoke to him is that he doesn't care about grooming gangs. He doesn't take this as a serious issue because he acted like a child, dismissing it as if it was funny in that meeting, and I thought was absolutely disgusting to the victims across this country.
Yeah, so Sebastian, this is going to be very difficult politically for Sadiq Khan because these are all accusations, by the way. I'm not accusing him of doing it. I'm saying from what we're seeing from these reports, it looks, and I think it would be really unusual for London to be the only place where these haven't happened, and that's what the mayor has and the Met Police have both said. Is there any inkling to you from your working with your local constituents that this may be not be the case?
He trotted through the twilight woods. His thick, russet tail, a mark of his prime, swung with a confident rhythm, a counterpoint to the soft, crunchy grass beneath his paws. A low, familiar huff announced the arrival of Vixen, a sleek female with intelligent amber eyes, emerging silently from the shadowed depths of the undergrowth. A silent descent caught Phelan's attention. Both foxes froze, their seasoned hunting instincts overridden by an inexplicable anomaly. The orb struck the earth with a soft thud a short distance away, embedding itself slightly in the yielding soil, its ethereal glow unwavering. A second object fell from the same unseen height. This time, there was no violent impact, only a soft, almost muffled thud as it landed a few feet from the glowing orb. Could it be mere coincidence that both he and Vixen had converged on this location just as these anomalies descended? Second clip, the fox's eyes wide with terror, reflecting the pale moonlight, darting frantically, searching desperately for escape from the silent, unseen predator above. Let's see this clip again in slow motion, observing the predator over the fence. The concluding footage displayed a message conveyed to the owner, detailing the disturbing reality, mirroring the fox's terror he would encounter upon his return to the village. Like and subscribe for more. Hit the notification bell to stay updated and share your interpretations in the comments.
Here I am. Here I am.
Party's original bag is back now with the.
Hi, Kelly. I like that it is a diseased global. Yeah, it's just way too much for me. I ain't gonna even. It's just sickening. It's just really, really sickening.
Last bastion have been able to cover it up.
Thought officers, she'd been raped by numerous men.
These kind of gangs and this kind of child abuse exists throughout this country, and it has done for decades.
It really has.
And it has done for.
And the cover up is
alone
just.
and unsafe in a house with 3 men.
I don't need a report to know that that's wrong.
A 15-year-old girl coerced to go to a hotel.
100% for me. For me, that is unambiguous.
Given drugs and alcohol, made to carry out sexual acts on men.
That is the pattern that I have seen in grooming gangs.
15-year-old girl.
The Met is the last bastion of being able to cover it up.
Thought officers, she'd been raped by numerous men.
These kind of gangs and this kind of child abuse exists throughout this country, and it has done for decades.
A 17-year-old girl raped by a number of men.
I want to see somebody in a high.
And see, this is the problem with what Diddy did. I just think that Diddy disguised his in a different way. And because trafficking, human trafficking is on a huge scale, upward scale, and, you know, the masquerade of it all, and the pyramid, the marketing, the good boy, the rich boy, the good old boys, they have this whole marketing scheme of passing kids and minors the drugs, and you know, Diddy's was just set up a little different, because I don't care how they look at Cassie. She thought, and none of those girls, they thought that he was their man, and he wasn't. He was not. I don't care what they thought. They were never going to be his wife. They were never going to be the only one. They were being used and recorded. And he was their pimp. And, you know, just to watch men and females make excuses. You know, she knew it was about money. It was about this. I mean, every last one of these girls, you know, they sit down and they groom them and they ask them, what are your ambitions? What do you want? And then they just manipulate around what they have, you know, the dreams that they have have told them. And they dangle their dreams over their head. And they act like they're going to give it to them. Oh, yeah, just one more time and you get your music. Just one more time and I'm going to send you off to college just one more time. Now, they saying Pam Bondi is in the files. I'm hearing that as well. The Pam Bondi was once and upon a time groomed. And it's just something about his cabinet of people. It's like, where these people come from? If they weren't in his pageants, they were met through Epstein or just something. We just got to really stay woke with it. And the only difference in right now, Maxwell and Diddy, is Diddy threatened Trump. And as we listened to her, part of her interview last night, she was being coached on what to say, when to say you don't remember, what's in the discovery. She was just kind of nervous even about what she needed to say in order to get some form of preferential treatment. Because if she'd have slipped up and said the wrong thing in any way, shape, form, or fashion, she would not have been moved and possibly not even looking for a pardon, commutement of time. Diddy threatened. That's the only difference. They both know Trump is dirty. But Diddy tried to play the game like he was still one of the good old boys. And I have the dirt on you. So because that's all of them. The blackmail, that's their game, right? All of them. Blackmail. Blackmail. Maxwell didn't blackmail, but she threatened it while she was in jail in Florida to the inmates. She said, I know some on him that could bring him down. Just like Epstein told his that guy, I don't know, I can't remember what he was to him, that his brother, he told his brother that he could shut the whole presidency down. So that's why Ghislaine Maxwell didn't know what to say. She sounded nervous and crazy as hell. Well, I know this. I mean, listen to this. I mean, I don't know. What? Yeah, that's what's going on right now. And so that's the most irritating part about Diddy. And I think that's why the judge not playing no games with him. None. Well, to me, he still did play games because that 4 years, 5 years, that still ain't enough for me. But let's go. Come on, lady.
Place held criminally responsible.
They go that Met Police again. We saw that yesterday with
and it has done for decades.
Prince
17-year-old girl in rape by a number of men.
Prince Andrew.
I want to see somebody in a high place held criminally responsible.
We saw this yesterday with Prince Andrew. hiding in plain sight.
Hey Maggie, thanks for coming down. Could you start off by introducing yourself and giving us a kind of brief overview of the work you've done?
My name's Maggie Oliver. I was a former police officer with Greater Manchester Police, and I resigned in 2012 because I was outraged at the what I consider gross criminal neglect in dealing with child abuse on an industrial scale. I've spoken out since then, done a lot of media, and in 2019 started my own charity, the Maggie Oliver Foundation, where we support adult survivors and victims of any kind of sexual abuse, but also victims of grooming gangs. I now consider myself an expert in this field. It's consumed 20 years of my life, and we still have a long...
And we still don't know what really happened to Jeffrey Epstein. He could be in Europe. We don't know where he at. Y'all, please double tap the screen and hit the like button.
Long way to go.
He from Pakistan. He wanted it to be about racism, not the victims. Just excuses to look over.
What we want to speak to you about is Mayor of London Sadiq Khan and the Metropolitan Police, specifically their denial of grooming gangs existing like Rochdale and Rotherham in London. They've said to me many times that this problem doesn't exist when I've asked them questions about it. But I think there's one quote from Sadiq Khan that really sums it up, which is, there are no reported cases and also no indication of these types of grooming gangs in London.
Maggie, what do you think of that statement?
I think it's nonsense. These kind of gangs and this kind of child abuse exists throughout this country, and it has done for decades. So what I've seen in the past 20 years is what I call willful blindness.
Willful
so trying
blindness.
to turn away from this kind of crime, trying to cover up that it exists, and the Met have been able to wriggle out of certain things, but perhaps they should ask some of the victims and survivors of these gangs in London whether they believe that their lives have been destroyed or tarnished by their abuse by gangs of men in and around London. It happens, and I think that Sadiq Khan saying this isn't helpful, and I think the Met are behind the rest of the country. I think the rest of the country accepts and has acknowledged that we have a problem. We've seen big cases in many towns and cities now. I don't know how the Met have managed to wriggle out of this, but I do think that the day is coming.
So we've actually compiled evidence from the Met that appears to contradict what the Mayor said, but we need an opinion from you, an expert, to assess, is this really the case? So
oh, wow,
now I'm going to read some details from a case that was reported this year. Victim 1, a 15-year-old girl, had been missing for 4 days. Her mother called the police when she received information about where her daughter was. The mother and the police found the girl with a 21-year-old man. The girl told officers she'd been raped by numerous men. An officer recorded the conversation on their body-worn video. Officers arrested the man and seized some items for forensic examination. The victim declined to take part in a video interview but gave her phone to the police to check for evidence. After 7 weeks, she didn't want her phone back. The force hadn't examined it and closed the case. The force didn't examine the suspect's clothing or his phone. They made no effort to identify the other men involved and didn't follow up on other evidence found at the scene. And that's our first example. If that case came across your desk, would you suspect that that was a grooming gang?
I wouldn't speculate, but that is a totally inadequate investigation. You know, they have made a judgment at the start that this case isn't worth investigating. They should have analysed the phone. If the victim had
Don't this sound familiar? Is that not sound like Patel and Bondi?
and to take part in a video interview, that doesn't mean that you don't look at other lines of inquiry. 7 weeks she wanted her phone back. The force hadn't examined it and closed the case. For me, that is either laziness, incompetence, inexperience, or more sinister. From what is on that, there is insufficient there for me to decide whether that is a grooming gang or not.
Could you say was there an indication there?
From you can't assume. As a police officer, I always say, when I've been highly critical of the way cases have been handled, that you follow the evidence. So I can't say from that. We have got we've got hearsay on that, if I'm honest, that the mother had found her daughter with a 20-year-old man. The girl told the officers she'd been raped by numerous men, but you have to investigate and you have to follow the evidence. So I think that there are definitely questions to be answered. If she's been raped by multiple men, are they a grooming gang or not? As it, a one-off occasion. I consider a grooming gang, you've got the grooming aspect, you've got the coercion, you've got the fear, you've got the threats.
So, do we understand that pimping looks different now? I mean, I kind of went through this with Diddy. They was like, oh, now he ain't no pimp. She wanted something. It does not look the same anymore. It has elevated. It kind of, the way they're describing it, it kind of reminds me of being jumped into a gang, but, and how some of the girls may have to sleep with the guys. I don't know, but this sounds more like that there are a gang of guys that is trafficking women, and it's more than one of them. So it's just like a cluster of pimps, which is the same as, maybe have a certain amount of hotel rooms that they make the girls work out of. Now, let's just close our eyes and think about what that undercover agent told us was going on with the hotels, these nice hotels. Now, I'm not saying that these guys in London are in nice hotels. I'm just saying, but it's a bunch of different men. They come together. In each room, there are kids. I just don't understand why it's hard for people to get it, especially women. Now, I can see men wanting to act like they don't see it because, to some of them, no means yes. It can be your husband, your boyfriend. It could be a stranger and trying to come up on you, and it could be a dude in the club, and you tell them, no, no, and they all up on you like you know you want it. So I can, I'm not making excuses for them, but they think no means yes. But it's the women as well. And I would say, they would look at it different, Frank, if it was their child or someone they love. But, if we're going to be real, some of them be like, shit, long as you got a coochie, you'll never be broke. Or you better go get that money. You better shake your ass. You better, so, you can't even say if it was somebody in your family, you feel it different, because some kids are pimped by their parents. It's just awful to be a kid in this circumstances, regardless of who put you in it. And then thinking that the adult is going to protect you, any adult protect you, and these adults are crooked and will re-victimize you. It's just horrible. And to know that it is damn near worldwide is just mind-blowing. But let's go, because my lights ain't up and I'm finna shut it down.
That case study.
Frank, hi, how you doing? I saw that you came in, but my lights didn't go up. So can you double tap your screen? You know, I see the people coming in because Janet speaks to you, but when I look up, the light hadn't moved. So I'm like, what is this? What's going on? Y'all come in, y'all speak, but y'all don't double tap the face of your phone, or you don't hit the thumbs up. So it's like, okay, what we doing? But thank you, whoever just hit the like button. I greatly appreciate it. But I'm telling y'all now, in about 15 minutes, if these lights don't go up, I'm gone. I'll try it again on something else.
We'll go to victim 2, also
victim
from, 2 this year. A 13-year-old girl was known to be at high risk of sexual exploitation. The force had regularly updated a 588 report. It contained details of adults who posed a risk to her and recorded that the force had served child abduction warning notices on them. When she was reported missing, the force carried out extensive inquiries.
And remember, y'all, that on Diddy's paperwork, why people are feeling sorry for him with these stuff restrictions, he had minor number 1 and minor number 2. Now, although they did not come out in the trial, they are in the paperwork as minors.
Those inquiries led officers to identify 2 men suspected of sexually exploiting her. Now, there's just 2 men that are mentioned.
It is grooming, manipulation,
like,
and promising
could we view
money
that as
again.
potentially an indication of a grooming gang? Like, what's your experience?
I mean, I read that, and that has got red flags in there for me. The first and one of the most well-known,
the hardest
the
clients
most
usually. Oh man.
Red flag is.
Let me read this. You said the hardest clients usually were mothers who didn't and wouldn't accept that their husband did too often. Infant. Oh my God. Hi, Kelly. Wow. Oh, wow.
She is reported missing. And that is one of the things, one of the danger signs. You know, you get 1 missing from home, and then that becomes 2 and 10 and 20. To me, that is one of the key factors in identifying a child who is at risk and being sexually abused.
Yeah, if y'all only knew me, really, I mean, y'all do somewhat know me, because who I am here is who I am in real life. And for the ones who been here with me through our ADOLPH, know that I am passionate about what I believe, and how I feel. I cannot stand the rug. I cannot stand the rug. And a lot of times, oftentimes, when I read that about the mothers coming from a former caseworker, I believe it. And but typically, it is the mother who betrays the kids first when they have been violated. And that's a hard pill to swallow. When a child has been violated and they go to, and I say the mother because typically when something happens like that, they tell their mother. and not always, but typically. And for a mother to betray a child that has been violated by one, not believing them, or two, saying, what did you do? It's your fault. Three, tell them, don't talk, don't tell nobody. What goes on in this house stays in this house. And then, one, you don't defend the child. Put them out, go call the police, whatever. And then the uncle, stepdaddy, daddy, brother, cousin, auntie, whoever it is that violated them, they come back around. And then a parent, mother, daddy, whoever they confided in, need them for whatever reason, financially, babysitter, whatever, pastor at a church, whatever. And then they come back around to test the temperature. And the minute somebody don't rip their head off, they rip them to shreds, they know that they can eventually go back and do it again. So it's sad to say, Miss Jolene, I know you're not lying. I know you're not lying. And that hurts my heart to know that it is the parent who betrays a violated child. The first violation of betrayal. They're violated by the predator, and then they're violated by whoever betrayed them when they told them what happened. So which one hurts the most? I don't know. I can only imagine. I could only have empathy. But I can only imagine trying to, as a kid, process what just happened and why my parent didn't handle it appropriately. And then wonder why a kid becomes a problem or a troubled kid, don't want to listen, don't want to learn, just shut down. Well, you shut down on them. You betrayed them. Now you want a kid to be a good kid, mind, do everything, not become promiscuous, follow, go to school, just do everything by the book. And you don't let Tom, Dick, and Harry do whatever it is that they did. And you ain't do nothing about it. Because he helped you with your bills. He put food on the table. Shit. Sometimes it's the parent who don't want to fool with the person and really pimp you out. But I'm going to move on because I can't stand that rug. I cannot stand that rug. I think a lot of the problems with a lot of the kids that there's just no reaching them. You tell kids as a kid to put something under the rug and don't talk to nobody. So you saying don't even get help for it. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. And what does that mean? What that mean? And then sometimes you'll hear parents say, well, hell, I had to go through it too. You'll be okay. What? You'll be surprised some of the things I've heard. And I've said this before during Diddy's trial. I just, maybe that's why I have such passion for it. I don't know. But there are a lot of people, girls, boys, females, and men who fall victim in letting these industry people, or letting someone you think is there to help you, that turns back around and betray you. And now you feel stuck. Let's go, y'all. I'm sorry I went off.
With that,
let me apologize. I'm sorry I went off. But this is just crazy to me. I'm telling you. I'm from one of y'all now. I think I'm ready for what's coming out. I think I am, but I don't know. I may not be ready, y'all. I'm gonna be, if I can be honest and put my truth out there right now. I think I'm ready for it, but I may not be. I may not be. I know I have some tea sippers who I hope and pray get some healing, something out of it, some truth, knowing that there can be some relief. Seeing somebody go through the extremes that Virginia went through, even when they tried to silence her and take her out, run her over, all that type of crazy stuff. And she still maybe have to get hers in death. But let's hope and pray she gets a victory. Because this right here is a huge problem. And it's sad. Come on.
Is that the force has served child abduction warnings. I've never seen those as adequate. And one of the most well-known, or the most obvious red flag is that she is reported missing. And that is one of the things, one of the danger signs. You know, you get one missing from home and then that becomes 2 and 10 and 20. For me, that is one of the key factors in identifying a child who is at risk and being sexually abused. The thing that jumps out at me with that is that the force has served child abduction warnings. I've never seen those as adequate. I see that as I see those as inadequate, because that child is 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
A child abduction warning suggests that those men are suspected of doing, of being responsible for putting that child at risk, sexually abusing. I would want to see a lot more inquiries around that. Now, it doesn't go far enough, but for me, that would suggest that the force know a lot more than is in that paragraph. And with my background, having seen exactly that happen on Operation Augusta, I see that often as a way of avoiding investigating what should be the subject of a much more thorough investigation. So that would raise questions for me.
Okay. This is a case from 2024. Victim 3. A social worker reported that someone coerced a 15-year-old girl to go to a hotel. There she was given drugs and alcohol and made to carry out sexual acts on men. Investigators attended a strategy meeting with the force's safeguarding partners. They agreed that an officer and a social worker should visit the girl the next day. They also agreed that the force should serve a child abduction warning notice on one of the suspects. The investigator didn't record a reason why the suspect shouldn't be arrested. The girl told the social worker and the officer what had happened to her. She provided several lines of inquiry. The force also received intelligence that the same people were exploiting other children. That sounds a lot like the cases that you've uncovered. Do the details in there suggest the girl is a victim of a London grooming gang?
100% for me. For me, that is unambiguous. You know, you've got a social worker there that's reporting this risk to this child. Drugs and alcohol, carrying out sexual acts on men. They're holding a strategy meeting, so that shows me that there are already concerns around that child. A child abduction warning, as I've just said before, I see that as an avoidance of doing a full investigation. It's a you know, the cases I've worked on, particularly Augusta, where the official findings were that that case was closed down because Greater Manchester Police would not put resources in. I see serving a child abduction warning as an avoidance of doing a proper job. That suspect should have been arrested completely because the girl is cooperating. She's telling the authorities what has happened to her. She's given several lines of inquiries. They've already got intelligence that these same people are exploiting other children. For me, that is unquestionably needs investigating. But from that small paragraph, I would say for me, that is the pattern that I have seen in grooming gangs.
Okay, I'm going to read a case from 2017 next. This is with victim 4. A 17-year-old girl reported to the force that she had been raped by a number of men after they had given her alcohol. Specialist officers were allocated to both the rape and the child sexual exploitation elements of the investigation. However, there was no strategy meeting in relation to either. So if you were the investigating officer on this case, how would you have dealt with it?
I don't understand why there's no strategy meeting. I think that the fact that specialist officers have been allocated, I don't think there's sufficient information in that to make a categorical decision on whether that is a grooming gang. You know, she's saying that she's been raped by a number of men after they've given her alcohol. That alone doesn't suggest a grooming gang. I think what I would take as a positive from that, if I'm honest, is that this girl is 17, and I have often seen cases where 16 is seen as a cut-off point for protecting children, when the law says that you are a child until the age of 18. So I can't say from that paragraph whether there is a grooming gang operating. I would say that it needs further investigation.
Okay, this case came to light shortly after Sadiq Khan became mayor in 2016. Victim 5. A 16-year-old girl made an initial report to another police force that she had been raped on numerous occasions over a 3-year period by a group of men in London. If she refused to meet the men, threats would be made that they would hurt her and her family. Maggie, is that a grooming gang?
For me, from that information, I would suggest yes. It flags up a few things there, that she's made an initial report to another police force. So from all my work, I do know that police forces don't speak to each other. This is a big part of what's wrong, really. So that police force that she has made that report to will probably recorded that on their own intelligence system. That may not have been passed on to London. But the threats, the coercion, threats towards the family, that is typical of a grooming gang. Often a child is drawn in, and by the time they realise what's going on, they're too deep in, and the alcohol is used. The fear and the shame becomes a real factor in them, continuing to be abused by the gang. So for me, that case would suggest for me a grooming gang are operating, and she won't be the only child.
Okay, this case is from also from 2016. Victim 6, a 13-year-old girl at risk of child sexual exploitation who went missing overnight, was assessed as being medium risk because she was described as being streetwise. Separately from the missing incident, Communications Centre had received another report that the child was alone and unsafe in a house with 3 men. This information had been in the email inbox of the Met Police for 14 hours before the force acted on it. This additional information, when the force did act on it, resulted in the risk level being raised to high. The child was found, but in an effort to safeguard her, rather than taking her into police protection, officers arrested her for a minor assault on her mother. At the time of the case audit, the Met Police had not formally interviewed the 3 men she was with while she was missing, which meant potentially they still posed a risk. That pattern sounds familiar. Is the Met's reaction similar to the type of thing that you've witnessed in police forces?
That case is textbook that I see. You know, a child of 13 at risk of CSE. She's gone missing. She's very young and vulnerable. The use of the word as being streetwise, you know, immediately that child is being judged. A 13-year-old child is a victim of abuse. She needs protecting. The authorities must step in. And it's corroborated by another report that the child was alone and unsafe in a house with 3 men. 14 hours in an inbox, you know, waiting for an allocation of an officer isn't good enough. I know that you need to act early in these cases to prevent further abuse of that child. And if you intervene early enough, you can prevent a lot that comes after it. But delays are not, they're just not acceptable with a 13-year-old child. The other thing that is very familiar to me is the child being arrested. Again, you know, that will alienate that child. You know, she's 13 years old. She will come out
13.
of that incident not trusting the police, not feeling that she can confide in them, feeling that she's done something wrong, when actually she is probably terrified. She needs somebody to take her into a place of safety, not to focus on a minor assault on a mum. You know, the men not interviewed, you know, I see it all the time, long delays, inadequate action to protect the child, the victim, becoming an easy target so that they can get rid of what probably is the entry into that grooming gang. And if that child was dealt with properly from the very moment she had interactions with the police, she could open up that whole network and prevent abuse of many other children. But by acting in the way that those officers have, right at the first hurdle, the likelihood is that that child will then not cooperate with the police, and all the other children that gang are abusing will be left until another child is in that position. It takes a long time sometimes to gain the trust of these children because they are already frightened. And if you're going to lock them up the first time you meet them, you're going to push that child away. So for me, that case is most definitely a grooming gang victim.
Okay, you might be wondering where we've got these case studies from and why we'd expect the Mayor of London to know about them. Well, they're actually from inspectorate reports that Sadiq Khan has directly responded to. So victims 1 and 2, that's from a February 2025 report. Victim 3, 2024. Victim 4, December 2017. And victims 5 and 6 from May 2016.
Now we know that the Mayor has read them because he's actually reacted to them publicly. So this one he said the Met needs to raise standards. This report he said significant improvements needed. This one, simply not good enough. And this one, he told the Guardian newspaper it was deeply troubling.
That's this one. And I mean, there will be a lot more than this. You see, what always makes me really angry is that I don't need a report to know that that's wrong. And you get a report, it's too late for that child. It was only in 2020 that we got the first report into Augusta, which had been in Manchester in 2005. For all those 15 years, Greater Manchester Police had insisted that there was insufficient evidence to investigate 97 abusers that we had identified. They've been forced to reopen that case. We're 20 years on, 21 years on now. It's too late for those children, but this is the same pattern that I've seen. And a report without action means nothing.
Absolutely.
It's too late for that child. The grooming gang will have taken confidence from the fact that even when a child speaks out, there hasn't been action. But for Sadiq Khan, reading these, and probably, I'm sure there are many, many more, to insist that they don't have a problem in London, for me that is it's unbelievable, really. I don't know how they have been able to avoid handling these cases for so long.
Does it shock you that this is hiding in plain sight?
You know what, Zach, it doesn't shock me. You know, it took me... It was almost 10 years after I resigned from the police that finally something was taken seriously. So many doors were slammed in my face, and I don't believe that... When I first started to see what was going on, I was very naive and believed that those at the top didn't know. The more I've gone down this road, the more I came to realise that everybody at the top 100% knew and wanted to cover it up. I think the Met is the last bastion of being able to cover it up, because I have no doubt from the work we do, from what I've read here, that there is a similar pattern of abusing in the Met. I've seen it in Thames Valley, in Oxford, and it's I don't know how they've managed to cover it up for so long, but it doesn't surprise me. Fighting to expose what was going on throughout the country was a long haul. We need to focus on the Met that we've had on other towns and cities, and up to now that hasn't happened, but it's coming. It is coming.
I mean, like that one, so you said that was like pretty much 100% a grooming gang.
Sure.
That's from February 2024.
I know. You know, people know me from the Rochdale case, which was 2012, the trial. But the Maggie Oliver Foundation, we are dealing with cases today. So I know these are not problems of the past. That's one of the things that I find really shocking. When chief constables and senior public officials like Sadiq Khan will insist that these things are problems of the past.
Yeah, right.
Because they're not. And some of the programs that have been on the telly recently will show that they're not problems of the past. In the foundation, we are supporting and fighting alongside victims today who are suffering the same turning away as that case you've just read to me. So that's where we come in and fight their corner. And we do have a lot of success. Sometimes it's the officer who isn't handling it properly. But when we take it to a senior officer who then will either pick it up or not, we will see it right through to the end. But I'm not surprised that we never seem to... We'll get an inquiry or a report that there are causes for concern. It says that on the front of that document. What's done with those causes for concern? There's a lot of questions that this raises, which I don't have the answers to. But, you know, one is a mistake, two, unfortunate, but when you go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and probably there's many more that you haven't seen, I find Sadiq Khan's insistence that they don't have a problem in London is completely...
He's gone further though, because he's saying there's no indication. So obviously when we've gone through these cases, you've said not all of them you can say 100%, but on his basis that like even the cases that you wouldn't say were grooming gangs, it's still by his threshold of there being an indication. Is that still, like, is that false? Like, how do we view that?
I mean, you're showing here some cases where I don't know why they've been investigated. There's a lot of questions I haven't got answers to, but I would assume that these have been looked at because there has been some form of a complaint. Most victims, most families will not complain. They will not be scrutinised as to why this case wasn't taken forward. You need to want to take these forward in order to get to the bottom of it. This suggests that they don't want to get to the bottom of it, and that isn't news to me. But these will be a tiny snapshot of what is going on throughout the Met. I don't doubt it for one single moment.
Why do you think they're digging their heels in on this?
Why did any police force not follow the evidence? You know, I spent 20 years trying to expose what I saw going on in 2005. I still find it incredible that as a country, a civilized country, that we can turn away from the most vulnerable children who need the police and the authorities to act. We didn't. You know, we didn't. So when you ask me why, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a judgment of the children.
Marino Sanchez, we already passed that. There was someone in Florida near Air Force One that was sitting in the tree. They say it was possibly going to be an attempt on President Trump's life.
Which you've seen in some of those examples you've just shown me. That they don't
desire
matter,
and fire.
that they come often from difficult backgrounds where nobody is going to make a lot of noise. And even if they do, trying to expose what I saw going on in 2005, I still find it incredible that as a country, a civilized country, that we can turn away from the most vulnerable children who need the police and the authorities to act. We didn't. You know, we didn't. So when you ask me why, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a judgment of the children, which you've seen in some of those examples you've just shown me, that they don't matter, that they come often from difficult backgrounds where nobody is going to make a lot of noise. And even if they do, they'll be written off as one of those things, you know, streetwise, making a lifestyle choice. They don't matter. I often say, if this was Boris Johnson's child or Keir Starmer's daughter, you know, would they have said that that child that you've just shown me, 13 years old, found in a house, 14-hour delay in responding and no investigation, locking the child up, would they have done that to Keir Starmer's daughter? And I would say no. So they turn away because these children don't matter. They are judged. They don't want to put resources in because these cases are very complex and they take very experienced detectives to get to the bottom of them, because the grooming gangs have been allowed to operate for decades. They know exactly how to avoid detection. They use different names, they use street names, they, you know, take one child at a time so there are no independent witnesses. They are very skilled. So I don't underplay the fact that these cases are really complex and they need real commitment to investigate. So if they can push a child away and avoid that prosecution and that investigation, it saves a lot of money. So I think money underpins a lot of it. A judgment of the children, pretend that everything's okay, and it's very hard to get to the evidence. It really is difficult because you will go for a SARS request or you will ask for Freedom of Information Act, you won't find the evidence there because they don't record the data. You know, we still don't record the data about the ethnicity or the religion or the background of sex offenders. I think we absolutely must. And even Louise Case's report, this is something I wrote to the Home Office in 2013 about, but we still haven't rectified it. You've got to ask why. So there are a lot of reasons that run through these, a lot of questions. I think I know what the answers are, but to find those answers officially, you'll struggle because there's been smoke and mirrors around it, which is still there. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I mean, so you like in your experience, you talked about willful blindness. Sadiq Khan, he reads this one, he says things need to change. By the time he's reading this one, he says that he finds this report reassuring. Is what he's doing, and then he's saying on top of that, there are no indication and no reports of grooming gangs. Is that willful blindness? Is it worse than that? Is that a misrepresentation of the truth?
I want to see somebody in a high place held criminally responsible for gross neglect of duty. And I'm actually quite separately from from the charity. I mean,
London. Okay, so yesterday, the day before yesterday, we touched bases on Prince Andrew being forced out of his title by the royal family because one of the survivors, Virginia, is it Giuffre? Giuffre memoirs, and her own voice is coming out in a couple of days. Emails were linked between King Charles and Prince Andrew about the Epstein. So what's happening now is a lot of human trafficking is coming to the forefront. Right here, the mayor in London is under fire because there is, in Europe, human trafficking that they are calling grooming gang. There's grooming gangs. And the mayor and the police and top officials are dismissing it and coming up with excuses on why there has not been further investigation. So, you know me, I think it's interesting that all of this is coming out around the same time because as we have investigated even as far back, I think it's Diddy, you know, going to these foreign countries. Russia came up recently. You know, the United Kingdom recently. All these foreign places are coming up. All these foreign places that with foreign names are probably going to be tied to the Epstein files. I have said it once, I'll say it again. Trump is just not protecting Trump. He has foreign relationship and business deals in place with foreign countries. So I'm just trying to get ahead of and have us be at least 2 or 3 steps ahead of it before it explodes, because it is indeed coming. And as I'm listening and researching, because it's being leaked that, you know, we know that Ghislaine Maxwell has had some top official, really high elite visitors recently before all of this was coming out. Okay? And now I'm looking over here, and it's interesting that Ghislaine Maxwell, it's just, it is just a big old, big old, big. I kind of teased the tea sippers a little earlier because the lights were not up, but she made mention somewhere in there she rubbed elbows with the Kennedys and the Comos. Andrew Cuomo, isn't he a mayor, or was that stood up to Trump at one point and then he had to step down due to some Epstein, they said Epstein type of sexual something. And my research has led, his wife is a Kennedy. All of this CIA and assassination, Charlie Kirk, and all of this shit. It's all full circle, y'all. It's all full circle. So the Kennedys and all of that. Let's finish this up.
Involved in an Action for Accountability Limited, where we've pulled together a limited company, a team of lawyers and barristers who are looking for a case that we can take forward, probably in a private prosecution, because what I believe, I think what I would say, I mean, I have to root it in the police.
Yeah, we got a pedo in here.
But you could actually.
We got a pedo in here who don't want me to tell the truth.
You could include all the authorities.
I'm glad y'all can't see his comment.
When you become a police officer, every police officer.
I'm glad y'all can't see his comment. Yeah, we got a pedo. We have a predator. He don't want me to talk about. He don't want to be exposed. He don't want to hear about these pedo-edos. They can't see you. That's what you get. So let me put you out so you won't try to write some again. Y'all say bye to Mark. He's a pedo protector. Bye, Mark. Bye, Mark. He's a pedo protector. We do not appreciate your kind over here. Who you calling a girl, Jean? You talk to your mama like that. You don't talk to me like that. You get your ass out of here, too. Oh, they in here, y'all. They mad. I don't know. I don't know how Jean called me a girl. It's like, who are you, boy? Any more pedos want to pop out? He thought he was going to get him one off. Yeah, he thought he was going to get him one off. No. No.
Swears what's called an oath of attestation.
We do not protect.
You promise to uphold the law.
Pedos.
That you promise to act with integrity, with impartiality, to protect, uphold fundamental human rights. We all promised to do that. What I have seen in the past 15 years of my fight has been that the higher up the chain an officer gets, I firmly believe that they are tested as to whether they can put the welfare and the protecting the reputation of the organisation above their duty to protect children. And I don't think they get to the top of these organisations without proving that they can do that. So what I see here when I hear Sadiq Khan, or I hear, you know, the head of the Met, or I hear Chief Constables saying we don't have a problem, is that they know that their duty as a chief constable or as a police and crime commissioner is to protect the organisation, and unfortunately they are allowed to do that. There's very powerful PR departments in the police, in all these organisations, but for me, they are guilty of turning away from these children, and
I totally
unfortunately for
agree.
decades they've got away with it. I think we need to see accountability, and then I do think we'll see change. We have to base that in the evidence, though, in the facts, but in 3 of those cases there are real serious concerns for me. There will be many more cases like that. I really, without more information, I can only comment on what you've given me.
Wow. This is what the Metro. Now again, y'all remember the Metro is the same. It's the same. Andrew gave his survivor's name, social security number, and all the contact information so that they could find information on her, dirt on her, is what he said, for a smear campaign. For a smear campaign. He wanted to smear her name, make her look bad. Yeah. And listen, I'm going to tell y'all, last night, I know I hung up on y'all, but I fell asleep doing some more research. And it is a lot going on out there. Even with Andrew. Ooh. But hold on. Let me, oh, they saying Sadiq has failed Londoners tremendously. He ought to be shamed. Oh yeah, he getting it. He getting it. Hold on though. Let me go here real quick before I go. Before I go. Nothing came over. And I'm just thinking about, we just seen Chris Como talking with, let's hear this phone call. Let me see something. Eric.
Too quiet. Turn your sound from 100%
Almost making
to
excuses
600%
for
with Power Sound.
him.
Just hit Add to Chrome. It installs in seconds. Click the
around things. We saw him at funerals recently. But you can imagine how the conversation works, right? I mean, for years he's found a way to try to remain around things. We saw
Chris
him at
Charles
funerals recently.
phone
But
call.
basically, I think
Let's hear this real quick.
been presented with, look, I'm stripping you of these things if you don't give them up by midday. Do you think that there was an ultimatum that was that clear? Because clearly he had a chance to do. You can imagine how the conversation works, right? I mean, for years he's found a way to try to remain around things. We saw him at funerals recently, but basically I think he was clearly would have been presented with, look, I'm stripping you of these things if you don't give them up by midday. Do you think that there was an ultimatum that was that clear? Because clearly he had a chance to do this last week, but he wasn't doing this last week.
No, yes, I think it was absolutely, this is what's going to happen. King Charles rang him from Scotland, which he doesn't usually do. You know, if he's going to tell Andrew something, he waits till he sees him because he lives so near. but they actually told him that everything's dropped, nothing. But they can't drop the prince because that's his birth, and so they're leaving that. You can, if you allow the government to work on it for a year. I actually think that they should do that, because I think most people are so fed up with him and so fed up with the royal family as a result that I think they don't care whether he's a duke or he's a prince, but it's still, prince is still something that's even more important than the duke. And the other thing is that Prince William, who is absolutely hysterically hating this man, has made a mistake, that made a stand that he's not going to do anything with any of the royal family. He's not going to come anywhere, be anywhere, and when he takes over to be king, he's not going to let him come to the coronation. Now you can see the feeling, how dreadful he feels about this, and he just doesn't want to have anything to do with him whatsoever. Now the interesting thing is that the late Queen, who adored Andrew, and he was her favourite, and she actually eventually took away the HRH, but a lot of people feel that she should have done much more those few years ago and got rid of everything, because he's just become worse and worse as he's been able to duke, and he's smart and he's clever and patronising, and they don't think that's a very good idea. And they are complaining about the king, but he couldn't do anything over his mother. You can't do something like that about your brother over what your mother wants to do. So he didn't make any effort to improve himself whatsoever.
Now, obviously, none of us have sympathy for this man, because, again, of what has been publicly alleged, again, for the purposes of the lawyers that might be watching, denied, of course, as well, by Andrew. But he's, 65? He's not an old man, he's not a young man either. The likelihood of royal health care, and even if it's with all the titles handed back, he's around for a while, all right? So obviously he's not going to have a job. Obviously he's not even going to have a title. So is there any insight into what the next 10 or 20 years looks for the guy? Because he's still able to have this lease of a royal property. That's basically a legal document that they can't flip on.
20 to 78, I think it is.
Wow. So he's in this scenario where he's literally rattling around the house, and not even an act of parliament will be able to move him on from there.
Yes. Well, I mean, what he does a lot is to deal with very rich people all around the country, and giving them advice and help. So he could sometimes take a plane, he sometimes just does it by phone, and he offers his advice. I think people should run a mile, actually, about that. But he does get paid for that. And, of course, there's still China, where he's got very friendly with Chinese spies, and they have paid him quite a lot as well. They're furious about him doing that. But as for the 30-room house he's got, he's just got to get out of it.
I don't care nothing about that. Hold on. Sarah Ferguson and Princess, her daughters, visited Epstein after he left prison. So Fergie took her daughters so they said that Fergie and her daughters were the first to celebrate his release from prison. Wow. Hold on, y'all. Ooh. Ooh. And she was a part of a lot of organizations around kids. I just feel like all of those nonprofit that were child related were ways of grooming them, picking them, selecting them. Hold on, let me show y'all what I teased at y'all today earlier before I go. Hold on, let me get to it. And I'm gonna have to touch bases on Kata Scott, who by her remains were found. It's just a lot going on, y'all. It's a lot of goings on. And these women are in it as well. I don't know if I watched it without you because one of these guys' names that were contributors was a Dubin. I don't know if I watched it with the T-Sippers or without him, but his name is coming up again too. And I know that one of these girls said that the wife was pregnant and she slept with him and the wife. I just don't remember where. I don't remember if I watched it with you or by myself. We watched some of it. That's when I shut down. Jenny was not feeling it. I tried to tell y'all. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Jenny, let me see how I'm going to do this. Because I'm finna end this. I know I am, but I sure did. I'm finna shut this one down too, but I at least stayed a little longer because there was some new information that I had not been familiar with. Let me see what I got already lined up. I told y'all I'm not moving. I'm just not gonna give it myself. I started very late today, so I got busy on other stuff, but I just can't give it to y'all like that. And I can't get y'all to get the likes up. I just can't. I just feel like I've been taken advantage of, but I do appreciate it. I do appreciate you, Janet. You support my girl Vicky. She is she really takes care of me. I do appreciate it, but I be all in my feelings. It's like, really? So let me see which one I can set up after this. I can hang this one right up, and then I will go into some of what I cut off last night. Let me see how I'm gonna set it up. Bear with me. Y'all better thank Vicky and Janet, baby, because I got, oh, I can't tell y'all what I got over there. Y'all be saying, AunTeaFee, I can't believe you eating like that this day. But I got some peach cobbler in there I could be eating on at 11 o'clock. Don't tell nobody, though. And, oh, it don't have my, no wonder them folk came up in here like that. Let me see what I'm going to add. I'm finna set it up. What time is it? 11. I'm gonna go in here and put a title to it. Because they not hitting the like button, baby. And I'm finna get up out of here. I'm finna get up out of here. I'm finna get up out of here. On this one. And then I'll come back on this one. What time is it? I'm gonna try to set it at, let me put a title to it though. Hold on. I put a title to it. I come back, and then that one I teased y'all with earlier about Ghislaine and the Como and the Kennedys and whoever else is in there, and then I will pick up on what I cut off yesterday. But I think I had one already from the day before. But I'll see. Hold on. It was good. It was good. It was getting real good, wasn't it? I'm trying to get y'all to what's in the Epstein files, but y'all can't hit the like button, so I can't give it to you. I just can't. If y'all can't hit the like button, you're going to wait until everybody else see it. And I mean that. President Trump. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna set this up and I'm gonna put today is the 19th. I'm gonna say y'all go get y'all some water. Go use the bathroom. Baby, because that tea was so good yesterday. And y'all need to go on over here. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna set it for 11:30. I was gonna do it immediately, but y'all need to go on over there and as soon as I hang up and hit the like button. Go over. I just put, okay, so listen. We're gonna pick up from where I left off yesterday. I just set it for 11:30 and just so she know. Oh yeah, I did show y'all. I did show you. No, I don't think that. Oh, don't trip with me. Don't trip.
Made from 100%
No, this is the one I had the other day. Hold on. Hold on.
It is designed for maximum comfort.
Inconsolable.
I don't think this one was the one. I think I had another one. I think I was watching this one. I stopped on this one the other day. And I showed you I still had it. But the one, oh, no, it was her. It was this one. Oh, yeah, it was this one. It was this one. I still have it. Let's see.
Yes. Damaging? Absolutely. 2005 to 2007. Epstein implodes.
Yeah, I don't think I was that far, though. But this is it, wasn't it, Janet? Because that's that girl that was talking.
Is sometimes too strong for words to work the way
that was her, right?
So Janet? I apologize. Donald Trump, President of the United States.
I don't think we had gotten that far, though. Had we? Who is Bill Richardson? I don't think we had gotten this far. Okay, so I got to... But we did get this far, though. That's his brother, right? We did get that far. Right? Because I remember the brother, he was in banking, and he bought the building. So, yeah, and it's another one I have. But I think before I start back here, I'm going to this one that I came across today with Andrew Cuomo's brother. And it says she attempted to seduce the Kennedys. When you start talking about Trump. So, okay, so it started talking about Trump. It's when I dropped it. Okay. Okay, 11:30. Go over when I hang this up. Y'all need to go over. It should be waiting. Let me double check. Let me go to and see if it's waiting. And go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and let me double check. No, it's not there yet. But I got one set at 11:30. I'm gonna hang this one up. Go get you some water. Do whatever you need to do, and then I'll come back and touch bases on those that you said Trump. All right, I'm gonna hang up. You got it, Janet?